So that was absolutely excellent. Thank you, Neil, for starting us off. And I'm just going to say to Sean O Laoghaire, be ready. I'm here with me, Bella, and I'm calling on you. So I'm going to bring Sean in. But before I do, I'm going to tell you all about our Sean. Sean is from Portmagee in South Kerry. He's a teacher, a storyteller, a puppeteer, an artist, and a writer. But most of all, he's an igniter of imagination. Sean is always coming up with new ideas for engaging students in the creative process. He shares his Irish stories, mythology, and folklore to give students of all ages and uses, of all ages, a chance to use these tools and to make sense of today's world and our place within it. So I love that approach. I take a similar approach myself. I can't wait to see what Sean O Laoghaire is going to offer us. So Sean, can you make yourself known, please?
Hi, Maria, and hello, everybody. And I'm delighted to be here in Listowel, in the virtual Listowel. It's beautiful. And a big hello to Niall. It's lovely to see you on screen. And thank you again to Cara for asking me on board. So where I come from down here in Southwest Kerry is Ivara. And we have a very famous storyteller down here called Sean O'Connell. And Sean O'Connell, I'm no useless with dates, but he was there a long time ago, and Seamus de Lurga came down and wrote Sean O'Connell's stories down. So I've been reading those and telling those, but I've also been, I suppose, remixing is one of the best words. And again, I find a lot of stories, we're talking about the healing room. A lot of stories can give you healing if you can put yourself into the story and where you are in your life at the time. So this story it's in lots of different cultures as well, by the way, but you mightn't recognize it because I've done a bit of tweaking, I suppose, to be the best way of putting it. So this story is all about Betty and Babs Hair Salon. And things weren't going very well at the moment with the COVID-19, and a lot of people were doing DIY work at home, and things weren't going very well, and there was still bills coming in and insurance and everything, and the hairdryer had broken, but it didn't just break, it had burnt the head of Mrs. Murphy as well, and she was threatening to sue. So Betty was really in financial difficulties. So she was in there one morning, and next thing this stranger walked in, and he had a red cape, and he had a little pitchfork with 3 prongs. And he had black hair, and he had 2 horns on the top of his head. And he sat down, and she had a look at him, and she said, I suppose the sharp back and sides, the usual kind of thing. It's not easy to cut somebody's hair now with 2 horns on their head, but I'll do my best. So she started cutting anyway, and the stranger said, how's business? Oh, she said, not too bad at all. I mean, we could all do it 5,000, couldn't we? But things are looking up, and I'm very positive, and you could do with some money then, could you? Oh, as I said, we could all do it a couple of thousand if we could get our hands on it. Things are very hard, but everybody's in the same boat and we're all in this together. And he said, how'd you like to make all the money you desire? In fact, all the money you could ever possibly have. In fact, all the money that you could ever possibly imagine spending in your whole life. Oh my God, she said, all the money that I could ever imagine in my whole life. God, and she was thinking about getting the new dryer and paying off Mrs. Murphy and getting a lick of paint, in fact, building a new salon, maybe building 3 salons, and oh my God, and what you do to her house at home and everything. And she was saying, oh my God, this is fantastic. But what would I have to give in return? She said to him. Oh, I'd want your soul for eternity. Oh my God. And she was wondering, and she was looking, and she was thinking to herself, should I? Would I? Could I? Could I sell my soul for eternity? But I'd have all the money I ever wanted in this life. She was wondering, and she was thinking, and she got the calculator out, and she said, you know what? I will. Oh, great, he said. I'll start giving you all the money you've ever needed into your account. Oh, she said, brilliant. But she said one thing now. When you come back to take me down to hell, I want to know how hot it really is, because I'm going to have a fake tan. I'm going to look brilliant going down there. I'm going to have a fake tan. I'm going to be dressed beautifully, but I really want to know how hot is hell. Is it really hot, or is it just more lukewarm and people are complaining about it? Who said anything about hell? She said, hell? Aren't you Beelzebub? Aren't you the Dark One? Aren't you the Prince of Evil? Aren't you Satan? And he said, no, I'm an assistant manager of the RIP bank, and I've now got your soul. And you're going to be paying bank charges. You're going to be sorting out bank loans into bank drafts, and you're still never going to figure out what those charges are all about. Oh no, she said, oh no. And the stranger walked out, and Betty realized, oh my God, the damage was done. She had sold her soul to an assistant manager of the RIP bank. And she said, oh my God, what am I going to do? Well, she said she's a load of money anyway. She might as well go shopping. And she went off to TK Maxx, and she went off to Dunn Stores, and she went off to Penny's, and she was buying, and she was doing this and doing that, and everything was going fantastic. And time was moving on slowly, and she was spending all the money, and everything was going great until the time came. The bell ringing time came. And the assistant manager of the RIP bank called her one evening, and he said, I'm going to be back in 3 days, and I'm going to take your soul. Oh no, she said, I'm going to be figuring out bank charges for the rest of eternity. And all of a sudden, who came in but Christabel, the local angel from the credit union. And she wanted a perm, and Betty was very upset to give her the perm, but she said, look, oh, it's terrible, I'm after selling my soul. And Christabel, to Satan, we can easily sort that out. And she said, oh no, to an assistant manager of the RIP bank. We have no power over there. They take the regulator out to lunch. There's no power we have over them. Oh no, Betty said, I'm done for. But Christabel said, I have a little bag here. And if you can get the assistant manager of the RIP bank into that bag, you can turn them into whatever you want. Oh, geez, that could be handy, she said. I'll take that anyway, Christabel. And Betty was there anyway. In 3 days' time, she was waiting for the assistant manager to arrive. And he finally did. The door burst open. There was a cold chill and a fog. And the assistant manager arrived in. And he said, now, are you ready to come turn your bank draft into a bank loan, and then your bank loan into a bank draft, and figure out the charges as well? Oh, she said, I am. I'm very happy now because I've spent all my money except a dirty old tuppence over there that a baby spat on, an old man spat on, and a cow spat on it. It's filthy. And we all know how assistant managers love dirty money. And he said, really, it must be disgusting if a baby spat on it, and an old man spat on it, and a cow spat on it. Oh, 'tis filthy altogether. 'Tis over in that little bag there, she said. Oh, just let me smell it. Let me smell it before we go. Oh, she said, no problem at all. Stick your head in there. And he stuck his head into the bag, and before he knew where she was, she had him inside, and she tied up the top. She was delighted. But now, what was she going to turn him into? And she said, my goodness, could I turn him into a constantly constipated pigeon flying over the head of a prime minister of some country, or a president? No, that isn't good enough. She said, how about the most miserable person in the whole world with no self-esteem and all insecurities? And she said, no. She had it. She was going to turn him into a storyteller down in Portmagee, because from there on in, he'll never make any money. Thank you.
Oh, I loved that. That was brilliant. Oh, the constantly constipated pigeon. I think that's
Yes.
my favorite character in that. Let's give you 3 rings of the bell for that.
Thank you, Maria. It was
Very
lovely.
good.
Lovely. And you know, that's the
Huh?
first that's the first story I ever told about 30 years ago.
I love it.
Yes, it is great. It is great.
Thank you so much.
You're
Right, I'm
very
going to
welcome.
stop the recording.